Hi, I'm Jana Fussell, and my persuasive speech title is Give the Gift of Life, Be an Organ Donor. Do you realize how many people die each year from not receiving an organ? According to the New York Organ Donor Network, 117,000 people are constantly on the waiting list. The people on the waiting list is enough to fill a football stadium twice, according to organdonor.gov. Perhaps we have not grasped the importance of organ donation. In this, I will argue that we all should be organ donors and help to lower the percentage of deaths related to not receiving an organ. However, I will support this argument by giving you statistics on organ donations, real-life stories of people who have given and received organs, and tell you why I believe we as Americans should step up and lend a hand by helping the ones in need. The statistics related to organ donations is shocking and mind-boggling. Every 10 minutes, someone is added to the organ transplant waiting list. That's according to organdonor.gov. According to organdonor.gov, on average, 18 people die every day from not receiving an organ. Could you imagine being on that waiting list and not knowing if you'll last from day to day because you haven't received your organ? Some of these people are not very fortunate, and they die before they ever get their organ. People on the waiting list have to wait days, months, weeks, and even years. We should have so many organs stored up so that as soon as these people are on the waiting list, they would immediately get the phone call that, hey, we have your organ waiting on you. That phone call for the people that's been waiting is an answer to prayer. Whenever you discuss and talk about organ donations, you always hear about real-life stories of people who have given and received organs. According to Ranker, a well-known actor, father, and comedian, George Lopez, received an organ transplant. He received a kidney from his then-wife, Anne, in 2004. He had a genetic condition that caused his kidneys to deteriorate. If he had not received that kidney, he would have died, and we would have lost an amazing actor and comedian. According to the Norman transcript, on a recent 2010 episode of Extreme Makeover Home Edition, we were introduced to the Skaggs family. Their little boy named Jet had a heart condition. His heart was very weak. It caused him to go into cardiac arrest several times. The family soon realized that their little boy needed a heart transplant, so he was took to a local children's hospital where he waited days, and in those days of waiting he had to be resuscitated several times. This little boy soon received his heart transplant and is now living, growing up, and enjoying life with his family and friends. According to the New York Organ Donor Network, a young 17-year-old girl named Janine Brower was walking home from school one day. Prior to this incident, she had told her mother that she wanted to be an organ donor. She made her mother promise that when something happened to her, she would make sure she was an organ donor. So when this girl did die, the mother remembered that promise. She followed through with her promise, and her daughter donated her kidneys, her liver, her pancreas, her corneas, her heart valves, her skin, and her bones. We have got to start taking action and lowering the percentage of deaths related to not receiving an organ. According to Women's Health, 4,100 transplant candidates are added to the national waiting list each month. There are a lot of people who die every day and who have not considered being an organ donor. To people that's been on the waiting list, whenever they see people being lowered into the ground that still have organs intact, that's like burying a pot of gold to them. According to Wikipedia, there is a medical TV series called 3 Rivers that aired on CBS. A young woman and her fiancé were at the altar exchanging vows when a gunman came in and shot her. She died at a hospital, and the mother was faced with the question whether or not she would allow her daughter's organs to be donated. The mother refused at first because of the trauma that her and the family had been through, and also the trauma that the daughter had been through before she passed away. But the mother soon gave in and allowed her daughter's organs to be donated, and her mother took part in lowering the percentage of deaths related to not receiving an organ. In 2010, 2.5 million people died. Could you imagine all 2.5 million people being an organ donor? If that happened, that would be truly amazing. So I hope that after you see this persuasive speech, that you will feel and be enthused enough to go and register on any organ donor network to be an organ donor. You can, in fact, change the world one life at a time by being an organ donor and give the gift of life. Thank you.